Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Uh, Thank you for joining me. Juan, Costa Rica. Good morning. Glenn up in Canada. I like it. Mike from Toronto. Well, we've got Canada and part of Central America covered. So that's excellent. Um, so let me start by saying happy Friday. I hope you got some great plans for the weekends and everybody checking in. I'm just looking, Hector and Dallas. So good to see you all. I'm kind of looking all over the place because I've got a large screen over here so I can see the chat box as I'm talking to you. And obviously, I like to say hello to everybody. So make sure that we do that. And hopefully, you've got great plans for the weekend. You had a great week. I have to say, I'm also hoping that for those of you who have kids, you've gotten your kids off to school or about to get them into school, and that everything's going well for the start of their school year. A lot of you know that I have 4 kids, and my last kid is a senior in high school, and she came home, and that's kind of the impetus of this conversation today. Was she was talking about having to give a presentation in English class. And she told me, she goes, Dad, did you know that 90% of people fear speaking in public? I'm like, yes, honey. She goes, well, you do it all the time. Mom does it all the time. I said, yeah, that doesn't mean we don't have some fears when we're doing it. In fact, if I'm completely honest with you, honey, when I go do a seminar, which I've been doing for 31 years here at WZ, I have to tell you that I still don't sleep well the night before. It's going to be a night where I'm going to stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning in the hotel. And I know the material. I know I'm going to know what the material is when I present it. But my fear is I want to do a good job, right? I want to make sure that I represent WZ well. I want to make sure that I represent myself and my family well. And I also want to make sure that I give the students what they need. To be a better interviewer, for example. And that's what I want to do today is I want to talk about the interviewing. And let's see. Good morning, Susanna. Good to see you. And so if you think about public speaking in general, right, it's a strong skill set. It's going to set you apart. You're more confident. It can help you in leadership positions. But the most effective way to get your point across is getting up and talking about it, right? You're demonstrating your knowledge and you can influence others. And this skill doesn't just translate to public speaking, right? It's helping us become a better interviewer by having those knowledge points, the ability to influence and demonstrate our credibility, for example, which is going to be a major component in our interviews. So this is a skill set that all interviewers need, but also all professionals need. So how can we get there? How can we become a great speaker? Understand, first off, that fear piece that I talked about. It's okay to be fearful, but that doesn't mean we let that fear overrule us, right? We're just going to practice more. And that's probably the first thing is I would tell you to watch great speakers, and better late than never, John. You're right on time, man. I'm just getting rolling. So watch some great speakers. Go to the TED Talks, watch them. But if I could tell you, don't just listen to what they're saying. To become a better speaker, watch how they're doing it. Notice how they're breathing. Notice how they're in control of their breath, and they don't sound like they're out of breath because they're confident and they're okay with those moments. Be aware of your body language. As you see me talking, I'm a person who talks with their hands, right? So I'm doing this as I try to illustrate a point, right? So avoid the fidgets, but use your hands and arms to convey what you're doing. Walk around comfortably. You don't just need to stay static in a spot. You can move around. You see me in the chair. I started off, I think back here. I get up to here as I'm making a point. Use those things to your advantage to accentuate your points. Another interesting thing that I learned years ago is, I don't know why, I don't remember the research, but this right here, it's considered a temple of confidence, but it also does a few other things, right? It prevents you from picking your nails or rubbing your hands or doing this or doing all that kind of stuff, right? So it prevents you from doing those type of things. So take take note of that. Also, your voice. If you're speaking, like right now, I'm speaking from right here. But when I'm up in a room, I'm going to speak from here, right? That diaphragm. So that way my voice is more confident. It's projecting out to people. They're not sitting there going, what is he saying? I can't hear him, right? So it's being able to project that voice, which again shows the confidence in what you're saying. And that helps also in interviews as well, right? We want to show that we're confident. And just like an interview, we want to prepare. Preparation and pre-planning is something that we've been pushing very, very hard in all of our seminars because people just don't do it enough. If you can prep and prepare, what you're going to do is you're going to clearly establish some training outcomes, 3 to 5 areas that you want to make sure that you outline for your message. And then what's going to be important is what is important to them. Why are you talking to me? Why are you teaching me something, right? So I want to make sure that I understand what it is that's going to be important to them and how it is useful to them. Because there's nothing better as an instructor, nothing. I'm telling you, nothing better as somebody who speaks for a living to watch people in the audience have those aha moments, those moments where they're saying, oh, I see how that's going to make me better. That's going to make me do something that I've always wanted to be able to accomplish or be able to do. That's what we're looking to accomplish when we're giving those presentations, right? And so we look for those aha moments and relish in them as you see that you're getting your point across with the group. Now, a lot of people want to use visual aids. Notice I'm not using any visual aids here currently, but we do 2-day seminar, 3-day seminars. And if you actually counted the number of slides from a PowerPoint perspective that we use, it might be 30 slides for 2 days, literally. That's it. Now there's a bunch of other slides, which is just our WZ logo page. And that's just a placeholder for the next topic that we're going to talk about. Point being, I don't want your visual aids to be distracting. And distraction can happen a number of different ways. It can happen from you're too text heavy. You put something up that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, or getting a little too crazy with the emojis or the pictures or things of that nature. I also don't want you to read your PowerPoints. The PowerPoints are just reiterating your points that you're saying. That's it for those that are visual learners. I had a presentation I was doing with somebody in the industry, and we're doing it at a National Retail Federation conference, yearly conference. And he called me and goes, Wayne, I've got this PowerPoint prepared. This PowerPoint's going to knock their socks off. And I responded to him, I go, it's going to knock their socks off. Then why are we going? Why don't we just send them the PowerPoint and we don't even have to get up on the stage? He goes, oh. So for an hour, he had 65 slides. I go, knock that down to 5 slides. Right? So it's not, you're the show. You're the one that has the knowledge. That's just reiterating your knowledge. So how do we get there, right? We have to rehearse. I've told you many times when I've talked about learning how to interview, I'm a writer. I have to write it out. So I write things out and then I record it. In fact, let me just post it up here. I'm going to post it there. There's a website you can go to practice, islcollective.com. It gives you the ability to practice your public speaking, and they give you a bunch of tips, things of that nature. And what it enables you to do is as you're speaking, it can actually tell you, are you talking too fast? Are you talking too slow? Do you have a common word? Right. You say right like 50 times during your training or during your speech. Ums, ahs, all those are kind of called out for you. And it helps you practice your pace, your pauses. Don't rush. Don't rush when you're talking to people. If you don't want to use that, if you just go to the PowerPoint, they have a slideshow. You click on that. They have a practice mechanism where you can go in. It won't give you some of the feedback that ISL Collective will, but it still helps you practice with your timing and things of that nature. So if you think about public speaking and interviewing for that matter, the most rewarding aspect of presenting is the interaction with thoughtful, enthusiastic learners, right? You'll feed off that energy, but you have to create that atmosphere. When I mentioned pauses, if you ask a question in the crowd, I see a lot of interviewers. We had a new instructor this week. He asked a question, and after a couple seconds, literally just a couple seconds, he went ahead and answered the question. And so in my critique, I said, listen, when you ask a question, you have to condition them, behavioral norm them, that when I ask a question, I've got no problem waiting for a response. So that way I'm conditioning them. When I ask a question, I want this to be, again, as an instructor, as a public speaker, I want to create thinkers, right? Creating thinkers. What do you think? How does this apply to you? What can we use this for? That is the most rewarding thing that you can do whenever you're public speaking. And it makes it transparent of what I'm trying to do. It also builds in some of that other stuff, right? And I'll come to that in just a second. So no one likes a public speaker that's just going to be monotone. It's going to be a know-it-all. That's just lectures to you. Learn this, learn this, learn this. No one's going to like that, right? I don't anyway. You want to encourage discussion and debate, and you can do that by being adaptive. If you remember our training, we talk about the being maladaptive versus being adaptive. The rapport, build a rapport with the group, have eye contact with the group, and not just one person. I mean, look around, right? Look around as you're doing it. You look at the fact that I just mentioned discussions and debate. As I wrap up, I should tell you that today, Dave Thompson is doing our first all access at 10:30. And he's going to have plenty of interactive discussions. He's going to talk about some new things that we've been rolling out and talk about how those changes affect us in the interview room and why we're doing those things. And it's going to be a town hall format. So I guarantee you, Dave is going to be very adaptive and have eye contact with you. He's going to get everybody involved in that conversation. So if you have a chance here in another hour and a half, 10:30 Central Time, make sure to attend Dave's all access the first time we're doing it here for WZ. I'll wrap it up with this. If Dave Thompson and myself can be public speakers, so can you, right? Just follow some of the tips that we talked about. Practice, have patience, pause, eye contact, all those type of things. And you'll be knocking it out of the park as you jump up on the stage. You might still be fearful. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm still fearful when I go up on stage, but you can overcome that, right? Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And maybe I'll see you on that all access with Dave here in a little bit. Have a good weekend, everybody. And thank you for the comment, Clint. I appreciate it.